So in the urinary system, we'll first try to understand what exactly is the urinary system with its description. Then we'll go to the different organs which are involved in this urinary system. Okay. So the urinary system, as you know, is that system that eliminates waste products. So it will remove all the waste products which are present in the body, as well as the even the toxic substances from the in from our body. Okay, so it will remove the waste products as well as the any toxic substance which has entered the
مرة
body.
دي بربطيكونا.
Okay, so the urinary system, as I said, is the system that eliminates or removes the waste products as well as the toxic substance which enter our body, or the waste products which are produced in the body as well as the toxic substances which have entered the body. And this takes place through a process called as filtration of the blood. Okay, which will filter the blood from all the waste products as well as the impurities which are present within the body. And this will be returned most of the water as well as solutes back into the bloodstream. So when this process of elimination takes place, at that same time a lot of water as well as some of the solutes like the salts in the body will be removed, but later they will be added back into the body to the bloodstream. Okay, so during the process of elimination of the waste products as well as toxic substances, quantity of water as well as the salts in the body will be removed, but it will be returned back into the bloodstream by the kidney. Okay, so it will remove only the waste products as well as the toxic substances. Others all will be returned back to the body. So this process is called as the filtration, and the system which will be acting for this filtration will be the urinary system. So the urinary system consists of two kidneys on either side. Then we have the ureters which will be carrying the eliminated substance. Then the here will be the urinary bladder, and finally it will come out through the body through the urethra. So these are the four structures: a pair of kidney on either side, then a pair of ureters, then the urinary bladder, and finally the urethra. So these four structures will be, or four organs we can say, will be helping in the formation of what we call it as the urinary system. Okay. So the urine flows from each kidney. So the urine is formed in the kidney and it removes the waste products, as well as along with that the even the some quantity of water which will flow from each kidney in the form of urine down to the ureters. From the kidney it will be passed into the ureters. There are a pair of ureters right and left, and finally it will reach the urinary bladder, and finally it will go out of the body via the urethra. Okay, so it starts from the kidney, filtration will take place in the kidney, then the urine formed will be pushed into the ureters, it is stored in the bladder for some time, and finally removed through the urethra. So you can see here, these are the kidneys, then two ureters, then the urinary bladder, and the urethra will be the last. Okay, so if you see the kidney's function, what exactly are the functions of the kidney? One is it will help in the regulation of the blood volume. That is, it will be conserving or eliminating the water. If there is excess water in the body, then it will be eliminated through the kidneys. And if there is shortage of urine, of the water in the body, or if the volume of blood has decreased, then it will restore the amount of water. It will return back the water into the blood so that the volume is restored. So the volume of blood in the body is almost 5.5 liters. So this amount of blood should be stored in the body. Okay. So for this, the kidney plays a very important role in conserving as well as eliminating the excess water in the body. Second, it also helps in the regulation of the blood volume. First is it regulates the blood volume. Second, it regulates the blood pressure. Okay, blood volume is regulated as well as the blood pressure. Okay, so this is regulated by secreting an enzyme called as renin, which is produced in the kidney, which will help in the maintenance of the blood pressure. Then the kidney also plays a role in the release of the erythropoietin, which will help in the again the production of the, the red blood cells, which helps in the regulation of the blood volume. So the RBCs produce, again they will be helping in the regulation of the blood volume. So blood volume is regulated by the production of erythropoietin, which helps the production of RBCs as well as maintaining the water volume. Okay. And the fourth function is excretion of the waste and foreign substances as well as the toxic substances. So these are some of the important functions of the kidney. Again, I will repeat. One is it will regulate the blood volume. Second, it regulates the blood pressure. Regulate means maintain the required number of amount of pressure, volume, as well as it helps the production of the erythropoietin. Then it also excretes, removes the waste products, foreign bodies, as well as any toxic material which is dangerous to the body. Now, if you see here, you can see the two kidneys on either side, a pair of kidneys, then the two ureters, and this is the bladder. The upper part has been removed so that you can see the inner view. So if you can see here, these are the openings for the ureters on either side, and this is the opening for the urethra. Urethra will be opening below. And this region is called as trigone. Okay. Coming to the external features of the kidney, as you know, it looks like a bean shape, or it is also the bean is called as the kidney shape and the kidney is called as bean shape. So this is how it looks like. It is bean shape, paired organ. So it is on either side, right and left. So it is called as paired organ. It lies just above the waist between the peritoneum and the posterior abdominal wall on each side of the vertebral column at about the level of the first lumbar vertebra. You see here, so on either side in the posterior abdominal wall. So it is attached to the posterior abdominal wall beside the vertebra. This is the vertebral column. So here you can see the vertebrae and these are the intervertebral discs. So this is the vertebral column, and beside the vertebral column you can see the kidneys lying on the posterior abdominal wall, not anterior abdominal wall, but posterior abdominal wall. So just above the waist, between the peritoneum and posterior abdominal wall, on each side of the vertebral column, at the about the level of the first lumbar vertebra. You see here. So this is the 12th thoracic vertebra. This is the first lumbar vertebra. So at around the first lumbar vertebra, both the kidneys should be present. It is protected by the 11th and 12th rib. From the posterior, if you see the 11th, this is the 11th rib and the 12th rib. So this is covered from posteriorly. These are ribs are from behind. So they are covering they cannot reach anteriorly. The 11th and 12th rib are called as floating ribs, as you know. So they don't reach anteriorly. So they are only on the posterior side. So they are protecting the kidney from behind. So for surgeries, usually we approach the kidney because it is on the posterior abdominal wall. We cut the posterior abdominal wall. So when we cut the posterior abdominal wall, we will come across these two ribs. So you're supposed to cut the rib and then try to access the kidneys. Okay. So that posterior relation is very important. The 11th and the 12th rib, especially the 12th rib. So it is protected by the 11th and 12th rib from behind posteriorly. The right kidney is lower than the left. If you see in this picture, you can see the right kidney is lower than the left. Why it is so? Because on the right side here there will be liver on the top, okay, which which will be just below the diaphragm. So the liver, because it is present, so it will push the right kidney much more below than the left. So the right kidney is at a lower level. The right kidney is lower than the left due to the presence of the large right lobe of the liver, which presses the kidney, right kidney downwards. So you can see the right kidney. So they are not at the same level. So the right kidney is slightly lower than the left kidney. Coming to the supports of the kidney. So if you see the supports, so it is supported by two important structures. One is the adipose tissue in the form of perinephric fat that protects the kidney from trauma and keep it in position. Okay, so if you have seen the kidney, you might have seen the kidney along with the fat. Always it is covered by a large quantity of fat that is called as the perinephric fat, which will protect the kidney from any injuries, trauma, and also it helps the keeping in position. Then outside that, there is a fascia called as renal fascia that hold the kidney against the body wall. So around the kidney there will be fat that is called as perinephric fat, and outside that will be the renal fascia. Renal fascia. Now coming to the internal structure of the kidney, if you cut a section and see under the naked eyes, then you can see some important structures here. So if you see here, so this is called as the hilum of the kidney. Hilum. Hilum means that area where the structures enter and come out. If you see here, the artery is entering the renal vein. This is the renal artery entering, renal vein coming out, as well as this is called as the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis. It is also coming out. Now, if you see the outside part, it has two parts. One is outer cortex. This is the cortex, and the inner medulla. So outer cortex, this is called as the renal cortex, and this whole part is called as the brownish part. This is called as the renal medulla. Renal cortex and renal medulla. Renal is the other name for the kidney. So renal cortex is outside, renal medulla inside. Within this renal medulla, you can see like pyramid shaped structures. So these are called as the these are the renal papillae. Okay, especially the anterior part. Okay, this is called as the renal papillae in the front. Okay, and in between you can see these are called as the renal columns. Renal columns on either side. If you see here, this is the renal column, and outside it is covered by a renal capsule. Capsule outside we have a covering called as the renal capsule. Okay, so these renal papillae open into these structures called as the minor calyx, and these are called as the major calyx. Major calyx here and minor calyx here, small. Okay, so here I can see the structure of the kidney along with the blood vessels, the arteries and the vein. We'll talk about that. So coming to the internal anatomy of the kidney. So the parenchyma of the kidney consists of the two parts, renal cortex and renal medulla, as you saw. So this is called as the renal cortex, and this part, this whole thing is called as the renal medulla. Coming to the drainage system, fills the renal sinus. If you see here, there are spaces called as the renal sinus. These are the renal sinus. These are the spaces where the drainage takes place. Okay. There, if you see, there are cup-like structures called as the minor calyx, as I showed you. So these are called as the minor calyx. So these are cup-like structures called as minor calyx, where the renal papillae. So these are the renal pyramids. Renal pyramids apex is called as the renal papillae, which will open into the minor calyx. You see here, all the pyramids are opening into this minor calyx, and these minor calyx join together to form the major calyx. Major calyx. Okay. So cup-like structures called as the minor calyx collect the urine from the ducts of the renal papillae and empty into the major calyx. Okay. So if you see here, this is the structure of one of the nephron. Nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney where the urine is produced. This is called as the nephron. Okay. So this in the nephron, the urine is produced and they are poured through the renal papillae into the minor calyx. and from the minor calyx they will come to the major calyx, and from there to the renal pelvis, and from there into the ureter. This is how the urine is produced. Okay, so the cup-like structure minor calyx collect the urine from the ducts of the renal papillae and empty into the major calyx. So minor calyx all join together to form the major calyx. The major calyx empty into the renal pelvis, which empties into the ureter, as I showed you. So the minor calyx open into the major calyx open into the renal pelvis will open into the ureter. So the urinol which is formed in every, so this for simplification only one nephron is shown, but there are millions of nephron each kidney. So all they will be producing the urine and it will come through like this. Now coming to the urine collection, how exactly it is formed. So the ducts within each renal papillae release urine into the minor calyx as I said. So these are the minor calyx, small openings. They all join to form the major calyx. So from minor calyx, the urine will flow to the major calyx. From major calyx, it will flow to the renal pelvis here. Renal pelvis, all major calyx join. And from renal pelvis, it will flow into the ureter. Okay, so this is how the urine will be flowing. Now coming to the structural and functional unit of the kidney, that is called as the nephron, which is seen only by the microscope. Histologically, when you see under the microscope, then you can see millions of nephrons. Okay, so nephron is the functional unit of the kidney, as I said. Each kidney has over 1 million nephrons. So 1 million, each kidney has 1 million nephron composed of two parts, renal corpuscle and the tubule. Okay, so this is the renal corpuscle, and this whole thing is called as the tubule. If you see here, this is the renal corpuscle, and this is called as the tubule. This is the nephron. Whole structure is called a nephron. It has two parts broadly: renal corpuscle and the tubule. The renal corpuscle consists of the again two parts: the glomerular capillaries, where the filtration occurs. So the glomerular nephris, and the Bowman's capsule. So Bowman's capsule is outside. So glomerular capillaries are inside. These are the blood vessels which form a network. And outside we have a capsule called as the glomerular capsule, or it is also called as the Bowman's capsule. So here the urine is formed. Then there are renal tubules. These are called as the renal tubules. So it has proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, and distal convoluted tubule. If you see here, this is called as the proximal convoluted tubule. Then this is the loop of Henle. Okay. Then also called as the Henle's loop. Okay. Then this is called as the distal convoluted tubule. DCT. This is called as PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. This is called as the DCT, distal convoluted tubule. So this is the renal tubule. So this is the renal corpuscle, and this is the renal tubule. Consists of the proximal PCT, then loop of Henle, then DCT. Okay. Coming to the structure of the renal corpuscle, this is the same renal corpuscle. Now we'll see have a much more closer look of this. This is how it looks like. Outside we have a capsule called as the Bowman's capsule. This is called as the Bowman's capsule outside. Okay. And inside we have the glomerular capillaries. So this is nothing but the blood vessels inside. So the blood from the aorta passes to the kidney through the renal artery. If you see here, this is the renal artery coming from the abdominal aorta. Okay. After filtration, blood returns back to the inferior vena cava through the renal vein. Okay. So the arterial supply to the kidney is by the renal artery, which will supply the kidney, and the venous drainage will be through the renal vein, which will go into the inferior vena cava. Renal artery is a branch from the abdominal aorta, and renal vein is a tributary of the inferior vena cava. Now coming to the structure of the ureter. So if you want to study the anatomy of the ureter after the kidney, we have to see the ureters. So these are the two ureters coming from starting from the renal pelvis of the kidney. So these are long muscular tubes, almost 25 centimeters long. So extending from the renal pelvis of the kidney to the bladder. So they are coming from the kidney to the bladder on either side. Enters posterior wall of the urinary bladder. If you see here, they're coming here and they go behind the bladder. So this is the bladder and they open from behind, from the posterior wall. It has three constrictions at the pelvic ureteric junctions. If you see, these ureters have three normal constrictions. So if there are any other abnormal extra constriction, those should be abnormal. It is important to locate the renal, the ureteric stones. So if you want to locate the ureteric stones, you should see for the constriction. So if there are these three normal constrictions, that will be normal. Apart from that, if there are any other constriction, then they are abnormal. So you should know what is normal first. So for that, we have to know the three constrictions. It has three constrictions at the pelvic-ureteric junction when it crosses the pelvic inlet and at the entrance of the bladder. So one is when it is entering the bladder. Okay, then one is at the beginning. Pelvic-ureteric junction means where the uh, the the renal pelvis will end and the ureter begin. That is the junction. So beginning of the ureters and the end of the ureters here when they are entering the bladder, and one in between when it is entering the pelvic inlet. These are the three normal constrictions of the ureters. If you see apart from that any other constriction, then they are abnormal. Its blood supply is brought about by the renal, glandular as well as the testicular artery, because these are long tubes. So it is supplied by the renal artery above, middle by the gonadal arteries, and lower part by the same arteries which are supplying the bladder also supply the ureter. So these are called as vesical arteries. Vesical means bladder. Now coming to the much more details about that. That is, if you see the inside part of the bladder. So if you see, it is a hollow muscular organ. So outside we have the muscular wall, but inside there is hollow cavity, which is the space for the bladder. Okay, so if you want to see the urinary bladder, if you take a section, then you can see this hollowness inside. So it is hollow, distensible muscular organ. This has the capacity to expand to a certain extent, especially up to 1 liter. Okay, so the normal capacity is from 500 to 700 ml. Okay, but it can bear up to 1 liter. Okay, then if you see, there is a smooth triangular area called as trigone. This region is called as trigone, where the two ureters open on the top and below is the urethra. So in between these three openings, if you see the posterior wall, it is smooth. So this smooth triangular flat area is called as the trigone. On its posterior wall, bordered by two ureters on the top. So there are two ureters on the top, and below we have the one urethral opening. So between the ureters and the urethra, this triangular area is called as trigone because it looks like a triangle. That's what it's called as trigone. It is a smooth triangular area. Now coming to the urinary bladder. So you can see here, this is the side view of the urinary bladder. In the front, we have the pubic symphysis, and here you can see this is the urinary bladder. If you see, it is has a thick wall, and inside there is a cavity. Behind that, this is the uterus, and this is the vagina, and behind that is this is the rectum. Okay, so this is how the urinary bladder will be present in case of the female. So posterior to the pubic symphysis, so anterior relation is pubic symphysis both for male and female. But posterior relation in case of male and female to the bladder is different. In female, as we can see here, the anterior wall of the vagina will be in relation to the posterior wall of the bladder. And below there will be the uterus. Okay. Okay, so it will be below the uterus. Uterus is on top. Below that is the urinary bladder, and posterior, if you see, this is the anterior wall of the vagina. In case of male, So these two structures, both the uterus and the vagina will not be there. So the posterior wall of the bladder will be directly in relation to the rectum. In case of male, the rectum will be in direct contact with the bladder. But in case of female, it will be the uterus and the vagina. So these are the posterior relation difference between the male and the female. Now coming to the anatomy of the urethra. So urethra is the final termination of the whole urinary system through which the urine is removed from the body. So the length of the urethra in male and female again it differs. In case of female, it is very short, just 4 centimeters. It is opening between the clitoris and the vagina. In case of female, it is very short, just 4 centimeters, and opens into the clitoris, between the clitoris and the vagina. But in case of male, the male urethra is very long, almost 20 to 25 centimeters long, and tube passes through the three important structures. One is the prostate, then the urogenital diaphragm, as well as then it will pass to the penis in case of the male. So it has three parts. The part of the urethra which is passing through the prostate, that will be called as the prostatic urethra. That passing through the urogenital diaphragm, that will be called as membranous urethra through the urogenital diaphragm. Then which is passing through the penis, that will be called as the spongy urethra, or it is also called as sometimes penile urethra because it is passing through the penis. So this is called a spongy urethra because it passes through the corpus spongiosum of the penis. Okay. So these are the three parts in case of male. In case of female, there are no parts, only one part, which is very short and it is 4 centimeters. But in case of male, it is divided into three parts depending on which structure it is passing through. Prostatic urethra, membranous urethra, and the penile urethra or spongy urethra. And the urethra is having circular smooth muscles from the internal urethral sphincter, and it forms a sphincter called as the involuntary sphincter, or it is also called as the internal urethral sphincter. And the urogenital diaphragm forms the external urethral sphincter, which is voluntary. So there are two sphincters for the urethra, which can hold the urine for a long time. So the inner one is involuntary, so not under our control, and it is called as the internal urethral sphincter. And there is one external urethral sphincter which is voluntary, means it can be controlled, we can control it. Okay, so finally it opens at the external urethral meatus. So this is the whole process of the urethra, if you see here. So this is the bladder here. So from the bladder the urethra will come out. This is the prostate here. This is the prostate. So this the urethra passing through the prostate is called as the prostatic urethra. Then it passes through the urogenital diaphragm. This is the urogenital diaphragm. So it is called as the membranous urethra. Then it passes through the penis in case of male. This is all in case of male. So this will pass through the penis. So it is called as the penile urethra, or it is also called as the spongy urethra. And finally opens through the external urethral meatus. So it is a long tube in case of male. Now compare it with the female. So here is the urinary bladder, and it is straight short tube of only 4 centimeters, and it doesn't pass through any structures. So it is a single tube of just 4 centimeters, which will open into the external the urethral meatus into the clitoris here, just below the clitoris. But in case of male, it is a long tube. So if you see here, so it is a long tube passing through the prostate, then the urogenital diaphragm, then the penile urethra. So here, this is how there is difference between the male and the female urethra. In female, it is short, 4 centimeters. In male, it is long, almost 20 to 25 centimeters, and it is divided to three parts. So this is all about the kidney, the ureters, and the bladder, as well as the urethra. So if you have any doubts regarding this, you can ask me now. Do you have any doubts?